respect for the local community and their commitment to nurturing local talent. Inspired by their example, I now serve as a preacher in the Hong Kong Council of the Church of Christ in China, striving to promote gender justice and ensure that women feel respected and accepted within the church. In doing so, I hope to contribute to Hong Kong churches that more fully embodies God's love and justice.
Hello, my name is Paling. I am intellectually disabled and 41 years old now. I was baptized in 2011 and I go to the Kaishun Church of Love each Sunday afternoon. Our church is affiliated to CCC Kaishun Special School and I am also an alumni of this school for people with special needs. Here, brothers and sisters with intellectual disabilities participate in Sunday school. According to different abilities, our Sunday school is divided into 4 groups: faith, hope, love, and joy. Parents and neighbors also listen to sermons by us.
Hi, I'm Karen, the minister for the deaf at Cato Church.
When I first came as a teenager, there are few deaf signers and now become 30 out of 200 hearing members.
My parents are deaf. Sign language is my mother tongue. It's my privilege for me to serve with any hearing brothers and sisters who learned sign language when they first met deaf in this church. Deaf and hearing team up to provide interpretation during Sunday services. They need their own fellowship. Some of them commit to sign language Bible translation. We visit elders, we dance with our music. It's all about connection and love. In this hearing-oriented world, deaf often suffer from isolation and discrimination. We hope that everyone here can feel connected and embrace their identity as the children of God. We share the same humanity with imperfection. We learn to accept others' help. We learn to receive grace. It's amazing to see the transformation impact us and the beauty of unity in diversity.
First decade, life for the whole creation. Second, life community movement. Third, life civilization and ministry movement. Clearly, PCK places significant emphasis on life. We aim to address 3 areas where life is most needed. Firstly, life for the whole creation. PCK acknowledges the climate crisis as a crisis of faith and responds to the crisis of creation. Plans and actions are on the way to establish a carbon-neutral church, allocate carbon offerings, and initiate environmental missionary or green church programs. However, the world still confronts the looming threat of the climate crisis. Urgently, the most vulnerable places to climate change call us to prayer and action. Therefore, PCK will collaborate with partner churches in climate vulnerable areas. Through prayer and action imbued with deeper compassion and love, all of creation can flourish. Secondly, life for youth. In a highly commercialized and competitive society, Korean youth are facing difficulties. To embrace them, the church must become more inclusive and egalitarian. It's a significant challenge for PCK to rejuvenate youth by listening to them, empowering them, and integrating them into church governance. Thirdly, life for women. Next year, we commemorate the 30th anniversary of women's ordination. However, in reality, there is still a long journey ahead. PCK's Women's Committee will organize a Women's Assembly, publish a book to honor women in PCK, and launch a campaign for gender quota implementation. This is the PCK story. Thank you.
We prepared some slides, so Elder Fuman will take you through the first part of the slide presentation, and I'll just cover the last slide.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Fuman from PCS. I'll be very glad to share with you what we're doing, not about Singapore, but we have planted a church, a synod in Cambodia. All right, so I just want to share briefly with you what we have done in the country of Cambodia. Can we go backwards to the first map? Yeah. So this, if you're not familiar with Southeast Asia, that is the map of Cambodia. It is sandwiched between Thailand and Vietnam. Now, as you know a little bit about the history of Cambodia, it has gone through tremendous suffering through this Khmer Rouge. Have you heard of Pol Pot? They have killed about 2 million Cambodians because of internal strife and power struggle. So as a result of that happening in 1975 to 79, but subsequent to that, the door will open. So for churches or Christians to go in to share the gospel. So our work started actually about 8 years ago. Next slide. Right. So we have this first church that we have established. Is called Phnom Penh Promise People Presbyterian Church. Next one is the Power of God Church. This is in the rural area in the province. Yes. This is another church, a very tiny little house in which the pastor stays, and he used the hall for mission purpose. For church worship. This is another place for worship. Most of the people who comes to attend this church are working as a textile garment factory operators. This is the last church that we have established. Is called Amazing Grace Presbyterian Church, located in Phnom Penh. Right.
Okay, can we have the next slide, please? So there's basically two challenges in Singapore. One is that the population is aging, and the other challenge is that of special needs children who, after they graduate from school, they have great difficulty in finding jobs because there aren't that many opportunities for people with special needs, with a bit of challenges. So many years ago, the Presbyterian Church in Singapore started a charity which is doing community services. And so this community services charity actually thought of a good idea. They train these people with special needs to provide assistance to the elderly community. When the elderly community go for medical hospital visits, they need a bit of assistance here and there. And so, we managed to train one or two of the intellectually challenged to take on these duties. And then they actually developed one video where this chap initially was very quiet, but then he grew to love the elderly and is now doing excellent services to help the elderly. So in a sense, this solution solves two problems, right? In terms of finding a job to the intellectually challenged, and also providing, increasing the pool of potential people who are giving services to the elderly. Thank you. That ends our presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Anita. I'm from the Presbyterian Church in Taiwan. The Presbyterian Church in Taiwan started in 1865 with the current motive to inspire faith life and move towards a life-flourishing homeland. That's the translation. There are missionary challenges in Taiwan. First of all is earthquake and typhoon, in which Taiwan has the most frequent earthquakes in the world. And that with the PCT volunteers and pastors, we were able to dispatch resources and help to the affected regions. For example, one of our theological seminaries were dedicated funds to fix the damages from the earthquakes. As well as typhoon and Orchid Island. There are many typhoons in Taiwan, and also help was given by PCT. It is a result from climate change. Secondly, Taiwan is in the face of and the center of a geopolitical struggle between Taiwan and China. And the PCT has long been an actor in being speaking towards life-flourishing community within Taiwan as well as the world. There are civil defense training, as well as helping our neighbors from Ukraine and other parts of the world. And also training young scouts. Thirdly, we care for senior care in an aging society. There are aging problem within the church as well. Next. Next. Fourthly, we are also dedicated to Indigenous language revival, which is part of the MSP4 program. And mother tongue Bible translation, it's put into a lot of work in terms of discussion. Lastly, there are a diversity of missions taken part by the PCT, particularly in social justice. As a testament, we have many non-believing youth that were interested in Taiwan and interested in the role of PCT because of the protests and the social justice works that they're doing. And we aspire to be the sign of hope through love and suffering. Lastly, just a pitch. In terms of bringing the ecumenical family together, we have a program called I Love Taiwan Mission Camp. And this is targeted towards youths that are interested in Taiwan and wanting to see and witness firsthand what you can do in terms of mission. It is a 3-week program that is completely free of charge. You just have to pay the airport ticket, flight ticket. And thank you all to the CWM family in your support in walking in hope and faith and care. Thank you.
This is just a minute of clarification. Just now when you see the GPM, the coffin project, this is in line with we are helping the engineers to protect their land right. The engineers people normally, when there is a person pass away, they'll just carry the body and throw it into the jungle. And for that, they won't stay there anymore, they will just move away. So with the coffin project, we can help them to identify this is the land that they have been staying and this is their land right. On that basis. That's why we have that coffin project for the indigenous people.
Hello there. We begin with a special report from the front line tree in the grip of a war largely forgotten by the outside world. Rebel forces there are fighting an intense battle against the military regime. Press freedom in the country is restricted. Hundreds of journalists have been jailed, and getting into Myanmar to report firsthand is tough. But a BBC team has done it. The background is complicated, but the country's transition to democracy was cut short 3 years ago by a military coup, with the elected government led by the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi being ousted. People took to the streets in protest, but were met with a brutal crackdown. Many took up arms instead, and in October, several disparate rebel groups united, forming a single nationwide insurgency, which has made big gains, conquering large swathes of territory. The fighters, among them a group known as the KNDF, and now presenting the Myanmar military with the biggest threat to its rule in years.
East Asia countries and member churches may be far from you, but please remember Myanmar particularly, because they are really living in suffering. So we continue to remember them, and now we welcome the churches from the Pacific.
Good afternoon, everyone. Due to time limit, all protocols are observed. Greetings from the Pacific region, particularly from the 10-member churches, United Church in Papua New Guinea, United Church in Solomon Islands, Congregational Christian Church of Samoa, Congregational Christian Church of American Samoa, Presbyterian Church of Aotearoa, New Zealand, Congregational Union of New Zealand, Ecclesia Ecclesiano Tuvalu, Nauru Congregational Church, Etaratia Porotitani Mauhi. We will begin with our stories, but we open up with a word of prayer.
Let us pray. I tumatua tua ta eroa. A tono mai nā I tō maramarama, I ni a moana nui a hiva. E a whaaora I tō oinunaa. Amen. To all the members present as well as the CWM Joran. On the March 5th, 1997, the English ship, the Deaf, with Protestant missionaries of the London Missionary Society on board, arrived in Matavai Bay, located in Mahina, Tahiti. This is the beginning of the Christianization in the Pacific.
The arrival and spread of Christianity in Samoa was one of the most peaceful and successful receptions. 24th August 1830, John Williams of the LMS arrived at a small island called Sapali'i which is located in Savati. And it is a blessing, and I think it is God's timing that we are present with the minister that is currently serving at this small island in Sapaliti. He is also the vice chairman of the Samoan Congregational Church and goes by the name of Rev. Esera Awatama Esera, which he is at the back. He is present with us today. As mentioned too yesterday by Rev, the LMS was not the first to introduce Christianity to Samoans. The setting up of the first printing press in Samoa, 1839, only the second in the Pacific region, was a mark of missionary zeal to bring the people to understand the gospel through the written word. By 1855, the whole Bible was translated into Samoan. The missionaries also introduced a monthly journal. The Theological College was established Ma'alua in 1844 with the main objective to teach and educate local students. To each village of Samoa would eventually have a theological educated pastor as a spiritual leader. By the end of the 19th century, a pattern of ministry had emerged. It was molded in the Samoan village organization and aimed at previously as much as possible of the Samoan way of life. The church community functions in the same way as the village, where 5 main groups: Matai, which is called titled men, spouses of Matais, untitled men, unmarried women, and children. Each have their own individual and corporate roles as responsibilities for the maintenance. The village congregation is the